lapse from the statute of limitations. So, but on the lawfare thing, because this is important, we didn't get to this at all today. What is more likely, that Donald Trump went almost 80 years of his life never once having a criminal indictment because he's a guy who...
He was president. Things changed.
Well, I mean, all of a sudden, he's never committed a felony, and then
he becomes president, and the circumstances are the same.
No, they were going after things that were long before he was president. But okay, fine. If you don't like that argument, there's one other argument. They held all of these charges until the election. It is clear manipulation.
In a heated exchange on Real Time, Laura Coates laid out what she sees as the Democrats' ultimate strategy: weaponizing the justice system to take down political opponents, Donald Trump chief among them. She didn't hold back, arguing that Trump's indictments were deliberately timed to coincide with the 2024 election season, calling it a blatant example of lawfare. Bill Maher, however, dismissed the claim, brushing it off as a paranoia-driven excuse to deflect from Trump's real legal troubles. But Coates pushed back, questioning whether Americans could trust a legal system that appears to be swayed by political motives. This fiery debate raises a pressing question. Has the justice system been co-opted for political gain, or is this just another conspiracy theory aimed at justifying Trump's legal battles? Let's break down this compelling discussion.
All the indictments, until the election year.
All of the charges except the dressing room rape
Which they
one.
extended the statute of limitations, and then she was funded. The whole thing was a hit.
All the other ones have to do with he was in office.
Right.
He was the president. He asked
not
for
the civil trial for Trump. There was the civil thing with the Trump Foundation. There are so many that it's hard to know what we're talking about.
The investigations dealt with factual allegations that surrounded his term in office and beyond. Yes, there is a reason he was never investigated for having interfered with the presidential election, because he wasn't running.
You also can't have it both ways, because when the House moves to impeach Trump on January 13th, the cry from the right is, where's the due process? Why are you moving so fast? What's the deal? But then when Merrick Garland chooses to take his time and be deliberate in bringing these indictments, Republicans are saying, oh, you're dragging your feet now to wait until it's election season. So which is it?
I hope you do sports betting or something, because the idea...
On one side, Coates' argument highlights the risk of legal actions appearing politically timed, especially when they target high-profile figures during election seasons. If the public perceives the justice system as being used to influence elections or undermine certain candidates, it could erode trust in its impartiality. A system perceived as too entangled with political interests risks compromising its own legitimacy, leading people to question the fairness of any major legal proceeding involving political leaders. On the other side, Maher's emphasis on accountability underscores an equally critical principle: no one should be above the law. Public trust in democratic institutions depends on the idea that justice applies equally to all, regardless of status. If serious allegations against powerful figures are ignored or delayed to avoid political optics, it could create the perception that elites operate under a separate set of rules. This, too, would be damaging, fueling cynicism and reinforcing the belief that certain individuals are untouchable. At this point, Coates seems to be struggling to counter Maher's arguments. Let's continue watching to see how she responds.
The idea that a number of these different cases, all of these charges involve conduct that was all of them. There's all these 4 different criminal cases, at least 4 years ago. You're going to tell me that all this had to wait until the election year to bring the charges? You're going to tell me that Jack Smith, for those who don't know, was moving at lightning speed with the help of Judge Chutkan in D.C. They were moving, ask any federal prosecutor, ask anybody who has actually looked at how long. I'm just talking about timelines, by the way. The whole thing was meant to kneecap him before he could actually get to Election Day, and it was meant to destroy him for political reasons in an election year.
And yet it's only helped him.
It is the biggest own goal the Democrats have ever had in their lives.
Buck, let's ask a federal prosecutor. One's here. One of the reasons why this was delayed, in part, was not simply a matter of proactive or affirmative motions by the prosecution. There was a defense team in multiple different jurisdictions who were filing motions to then delay and ask for delays and delay after delay. If the calendar had been such that what the prosecution alone wanted, you would have had earlier resolution, at least in the form of trial, not necessarily a conviction, but he's filed motions to defend himself, and that has also delayed the calendar.
I don't know.
Amid the 4-person discussion, Laura Coates finds herself at the center of criticism. Her arguments not only fail to diffuse the tension, but seem to provoke Buck Sexton, who appears increasingly eager to jump into the debate. Will Coates be able to hold her ground under this pressure? This conversation is getting intense. If you're enjoying the discussion, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more thought-provoking videos.
Hold on. There are 4 different criminal proceedings against Donald Trump, okay? 4 of them.
Yeah.
And
he has defended himself.
there's New York, there's D.C., there's Atlanta, there's Florida. Florida's been tossed out, by the way, so that's what a great case that was. These were all
a real Trumper of a judge.
but you can't have it both ways. I mean, Judge Chutkan clearly hates Trump and was sending January 6th, some of them nonviolent detainees, into the prison system for like 18 months.
Can I ask you a more philosophical question?
Sure.
Because there are people who are watching this who, I know people, because I live in Los Angeles and Hollywood and all that, and they will say, why are you even talking to him? And I have no patience for people like this. They can kiss my ass. I will talk to you all day. First of all, half the country agrees with you. Are they all going to self-deport if one of the
No, and honestly, could I first of all, thank you for that. And I just would add to it, like, the people who are saying that he's Hitler and the country's going to end, it's not true. It's going to be okay. He's already been president. If he becomes president again, you'll probably have a Democrat who comes around in 4 years.
No,
it's not the end of the republic. Let's start placing bets.
It could.
You want to start? You know what I mean?
It could
play some money on this one. I know you got a bankroll, buddy. You know we can start. You know what I mean? I hear stories.
I do. That's my Mets. Okay. No, well, first of all, he could. Absolutely. He's too erratic. There's just no way you can say he's not going to do this or not going to do that. But
he's not going to destroy the country.
He's
going to do a great job, actually, but you don't agree with me on that.
What's your definition of destroying the country? Is sabotaging the peaceful transition of power the hallmark of American democracy? Is sabotaging that?
Laura Coates argues that the protests and unrest associated with the Black Lives Matter movement in the summer before the election may have put pressure on the electoral process, making some voters feel influenced or even intimidated. In her view, these events created an atmosphere of tension and deep division that could have shaped voter sentiment and ultimately the election outcome. However, Buck Sexton pushes back against this claim, asserting that protests and social movements do not compromise the integrity of an election. He emphasizes that while political and social upheavals may stir emotions, the electoral process itself must remain an objective and protected institution, unaffected by external events. This divide highlights a broader debate. Can major social events erode confidence in the electoral process? And should political or social dynamics be considered when assessing election integrity? In this context, the key question arises: how can we safeguard democracy from external influences while ensuring elections remain fair and transparent? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for watching. And 19.